The power group of 20 nations responsible for 80% of the world's emissions agreed to pursue and encourage efforts to triple renewable energy capacity globally. The ambitious clean energy push made it to the G20 New Delhi Leaders Declaration, which was unanimously adopted amid much applause this Saturday. Now, this sets the tone for the discussions in the upcoming COP28 to be held in the UAE, where the world will take stock of its progress on the Paris Agreement, with the first global stock take. COP is the biggest climate change conference that is held every year and attended by all the 196 countries which are signatories to the Paris Agreement. While this is definitely a significant step forward, it can only translate into action if it is matched with technology and finance. It also increases the odds that a global goal to triple renewables can be agreed upon at the COP28 in December. Now, experts say that the tripling of global energy renewable capacity by 2030 is the biggest single action that would keep 1.5 degrees target within reach. Most importantly, it creates a necessity for countries to go back and reassess their plans to make sure they're consistent with this goal. COP28 President designate said that the G20 nations have sent a powerful signal for climate progress, but he urged countries to meet the financial commitments of yesterday while creating the new ones for tomorrow. Now, this landmark decision, which is important for both development and climate goals, but increasing renewables must be backed by phasing down fossil fuels, and both are indispensable for just transition and a net zero world. However, there was no specific progress on phasing down fossil fuels. G20, which is home to 93% of the global operating coal power plants, maintained a status quo on the issue and reiterated the language from the previous summit in Bali. The G20 meet was held under the Indian presidency, also reached an agreement to support doubling the rate of energy efficiency improvement by 2030. The leaders' declaration also focused extensively on reforming the global financial institutions and debt restructuring to make funds available for the developing nations struggling to meet the climate challenges. With the world bearing the brunt of extreme weather events, climate action remained high on the agenda for G20 and ended with all the member countries, including the United States and European Union, lending strong support for the 1.5 degrees Celsius target of the Paris Agreement, as well as just and equitable transition. The Indian presidency was lauded for getting the New Delhi Leaders Declaration finalized on day one of the summit, despite all the geopolitical tensions. But there was no further commitment to increasing the availability of finance to developing countries beyond $100 billion. However, for the first time in a G20 summit, the countries managed to put a number to the need for climate finance and moved the language from billions to trillions. The declaration also noted the need for $5.8 to $5.9 trillion in the pre-2030 period for developing countries to achieve their nationally determined contributions, and $4 trillion per year for clean energy technologies by 2030 to reach the net zero emissions by 2050. However, the experts say that the consensus is on facilitating and not committing to the finance. Now, while the progress is good, a time commitment on both the renewable energy target and allocation of finance to developing countries would have strengthened the commitment from nations on the issue of climate crisis. Experts highlighted that the net zero target needs much higher investment, and if that commitment is not enhanced, it will be difficult for countries in the global south to achieve their climate goals. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching CNN News 18. Keep reading our stories on news18.com for more such updates.